Also, I'm Watanabe Shinji, the Renshi of Yuiga-ryu Karate. I hope you have been practicing Naihanchi according to the previous video, how to do classic Naihanchi for actual fight. Starting today, I'm going to post the analysis of each movement of Naihanchi. As I explained in the previous video, even if you can do the Naihanchi movement correctly, if you don't understand why the movements are correct, you don't really know or understand Naihanchi. For each and every movement, ask again, what is the purpose of that movement? What is the true meaning behind the action? Let's try to figure it out. Then, here we go. Oath. Okay, let's go through the movement so far today. First, with your heels pressed together, you wait on your heels and stand up straight, as if your head is being pulled from above. As I explained in the previous video, this is an important step to make Naihanchi posture. Do it carefully. And here comes the bow. Make sure that the posture you have just made does not collapse. Don't do it like this. Then, with your toes together, and you wait on your heels and lower your hips. This will make your hips pull back a little. Then, lift your arms. As I explained in the previous video, this is using the weight of your arms to create the posture that accepts gravity most comfortably, which means the state standing by using your skeletal structure correct. Naihanchi is the kata that teaches you to divide your body into upper and lower parts and use them separately. So I'm doing the lowering of the hips and lifting of the arms separately now, but you can do them together. And then turn the lifted arms over. The position of the upturned arm is the same as the elbow position when you lifted it earlier. Press it slightly forward, not down. It is the same as before, using the weight of your arms to create the correct standing posture. Don't let the weight of your arms overpower your posture. Of course, the body should not be stiff, but it should also not to be relaxed and slack. Maintain an appropriate level of tension. By not stiffen, not slack, and maintain proper tension is something like this. Maintaining proper tension means maintaining the correct posture of Naihanchi. This is very important during all Naihanchi movements. Now, let's look at some of the points to keep in mind about this position. There are a few things that are easy to do wrong. First, to drop the arms down. If you drop it down, your back will round and your posture will collapse. And the correct position is, as I said earlier, slightly forward. It is the same elbow position as when you lifted your arms. The next mistake that is easy to make is to let your shoulders rise. If the shoulders are raised, this arm will be held by the shoulder muscles, the deltoids. Since the deltoid is a small muscle, it will not be able to hold the arm strong. The arm must be held by the larger back muscles, not the shoulders. Try to lift the arm by dropping the shoulders and contracting the latissimus dorsi. This will make hold your arms stronger. The third mistake that is easy to do is to bend your arms. The correct way to do this was to combine your hands and extend them as far as possible. If your arms are bent, it means that your arms are striking. As I said earlier, both your posture and your arms must be held in proper tension, or you will lose power and speed. After this, you do haishu-uke. If your elbows are bent, you will have a time lag like this. And of course, you will not be able to fully extend them, but try to do as far as possible. Then you can feel the tension from your back to your arms. This is the state where you hold your arms by using your back muscles. Then you can complete the haishu-uke in one movement without any time lag. The last mistake is to fully extend the arms to the point where the hand combination comes off. This will cause the chest muscles to tense, and the arms will connect from the chest instead of the back. Arms that are connected at the chest will lack power and speed in the haishu-uke. Now, once this posture is set, the next action is first look to the left, then look to the right, and it becomes a Kousa dachi. At this point, most schools will probably take the approach of looking only to the right and then moving on. Of course, there is nothing wrong with this way, but actually the easier way is to look at both sides. Let's analyze it. Divide the body into upper and lower parts with as little movement as possible from the belly down. Then use from the chest up the movement of the arm to evoke a whole body's COG, center of gravity shift. This is the classic Naihanchi movement, isn't it? At this time, I have been focusing on the arm movements, in the previous videos. But in reality, there is one more part that can be moved from the chest up. That's right, the head. Here, you are learning how to use the movement of the head to evoke a movement of the whole body's COZ. Now, I'm standing straight. If I turn to the right here, the COZ of the whole body should move to the right by the weight of this head. But people have a habit of trying to balance, so I'll bend somewhere in the body. This makes me try to keep my coordinate. I'm going to exaggerate it to make it easier to understand, but it looks like this. So I learn to move in the wrong posture. This is not good. Therefore, on the contrary, by using this habit, it makes it easier to learn the desired movement. That is, the movement that evokes the movement of the COZ of the whole body by moving the COZ of the head. From a straight standing position, look to the left once. In this state, the COZ of the head should be shifted to the left. But in order to keep standing straight, the COZ of the chest and abdomen are actually moved slightly to the right to maintain balance. From here, if you turn your head to the right, the COZ of your chest and abdomen are already on the right. So the COZ of your head, chest, and abdomen are all aligned on the right, and you can naturally move to the right. This is not a neck training exercise, so don't do it quickly. If you do it too fast, you will move without getting the feeling of shifting the COZ of the whole body connect to the neck. Then, from Kousa dachi, you take a step and do haishu-uke. Maybe there are many schools that perform arm movements and leg movements at the same time. However, as I've said many times, Naihanchi is a kata that teaches you to divide your body into upper and lower parts and use them separately. So, in Yuiga-ryu karate, each movement is performed at different timings. The position of haishu-uke's arm is a little below shoulder height, and it twists a little, doesn't it? When this arm goes higher than the shoulder, it is more likely to be controlled by the shoulder muscles. The shoulder muscles, the deltoids, are small muscles that tend to weaken the connection between the trunk and the arms. Therefore, placing the arm a little lower than the shoulders and twisting it a little further, it is easier to get the feeling of supporting the arm with the back muscles, mainly the latissimus dorsi, larger muscles. Of course, if you have already got the sensation of supporting your arms with your back muscles, it is okay to have your arm higher than your shoulders. But it is easier to learn this sensation from Shudan at first. Now, let's try the movement so far again. While pressing the heels, place the weight on the heels and stand straight. It was like being pulled up and down. Then the buttocks naturally rise and the chest rises, and as a result, the shoulders fall back and the latissimus dorsi naturally tighten. Always keep this posture from now. Don't lose the posture and then bow. Touch the toes together and drop your hips, keeping your weight on your heels. Lift your arms and turn it over. Your hands were not below, but slightly forward. Can you see how your shoulder blades move between the position where your arms were at your side and the position where they were in front of you? The fact that the arm movement is linked to the shoulder blades means that the muscles in your back are being utilized. And once you look to the left, then to the right, then the body naturally starts to move to the right. Kousa dachi, set the stance, and haishu-uke. The height of the haishu-uke is a little lower than the shoulders, and the arm is twisted slightly. This allows you to feel the connection between your arm and back more clearly. Explained in my previous post, the secret of Naihanchi, the source of the power of karate, is centrifugal force and the move of COC. And Naihanchi movements are designed to make those two things easier to learn. Now, centrifugal force and the move of COC are also used in this haishu-uke. And now I'm describing this action as haishu-uke, but some schools interpret it as haishu-uchi. It doesn't matter how you interpret it. The essence of this movement is that you should learn that centrifugal force and COC movement are important, whether you are doing uke or uchi. By the way, if this movement is interpreted as limited to uke, emphasizing the arm twisting and focusing centrifugal force rather than COC movement, this movement is changed to haito-uke. This is the movement in the new Naihanchi, modified by a sensei named Itosu Anko. That's all for today's video. I really wanted to go a little faster, but it's getting a little too long, so that's it for today. Next time, let's analyze the movement of this haishu-uke. Moreover, so how was the content of this video? If you found it informative, please click the good button and subscribe to my channel. I'm also waiting for your comments. Then, see you again. Os.